Near the end of the Six-Day War, attention shifted away from Jerusalem. About 120 miles away, Israeli troops took control of the Golan Heights. And over the last 55 years, that battle has proven to be one of the most strategic of that war.
Whoever sits on the Golan Heights totally dominates this whole region.
That's in part because of the proximity to the Sea of Galilee. The Golan Heights shares borders with Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon, and Damascus is only 40 miles away. For decades, Syria controlled the Golan Heights. Here on the high ground overlooking the Sea of Galilee, Syrian artillery and snipers shot and shelled Israelis below. Children grew up running to bomb shelters, and residents lived under the constant threat of attack.
So all along the line of this cliff were Syrian bunkers and military posts and cannons and artilleries. The communities beneath the Golan Heights were totally at the mercies of the Syrians.
Overlooking the Sea of Galilee, Middle East expert Avi Melamed told me why this ground is so important.
Now, you have to remember, the Sea of Galilee is the biggest fresh water body in Israel, providing something like 25–30% of the water consumption or the fresh water consumption in Israel. In 1948 until 1967, what happened was that the Syrians occupied some strategic areas. The major result of that was an enormously increasing pressure on Israel, mostly in the context of the water and the use of water.
Israel faced a literal uphill battle against the Syrian army, a rocky slope that rose 1,700 feet from the Sea of Galilee. Israel captured the Golan Plateau during the last 2 days of the Six-Day War. Do you see any similarities between the conditions prior to 1967 and the conditions now?
I would say that the strategic threat, as far as Israel is concerned, is today much more severe in comparison to the pre-1967. The major reason for that is the presence of Iranians and Iranian-backed Shiite militias stone's throw away from the Israeli-Syrian ceasefire line.
Melamed said Iran wants to establish a new front here, similar to those established in South Lebanon and the Gaza Strip.
Trying to launch a military front against Israel in the Golan Heights could result in a massive eruption, because Israel will not stand for that, and rightly so.
In 2019, Israel made another gain on the Golan Heights when U.S. President Trump recognized Israeli sovereignty over the strategic plateau. In the meantime, the Golan Heights is quiet, but enemies on the other side of the border continue to plot against the Jewish state. The impact of that historic war is still being felt throughout the region.